In today's video, we are continuing our coverage of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have the Loki Season 2 finale this week. Also, the Marvels is coming out this week, I'm pretty sure. So, break it down. But first, drop all your theories of how Season 2 of Loki is going to end. I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to end, or I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure this will be bang on. So, if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Multiverse, pop culture-based content that I try to cover personally on a daily basis. If you could, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and become a member of the Warstu channel for 99p, please. It helps me out. And also check us out on Twitter or x.com, aka WarstuG over there. Also, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. So, let's break this down. So, first, we need to explain the TVA operates outside of time and space. What does this mean? It means it doesn't have to adhere or abide by the same rules that the MCU has essentially shown you over the last 10 years. Why am I saying this? Because no one seems to care when Loki Season 1 and when Loki Season 2 is taking place, because most people, you can let me know down below, would just assume Loki Season 2 is taking place after Ant-Man 3, but no, Loki is happening way earlier than you guys actually think, and because it's out of time and space, it makes even more sense. So, we have to go way back. So the Loki we get in Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2 is Loki who actually teleported away during Endgame. It's not the Loki that got his head snapped in front of Thor in Infinity War. It's not that one. So he teleported away during Endgame. He's found by the TVA and taken to the headquarters, meaning that he too now exists outside of time and space. Okay, are you with me? Cool. We just need to establish that. So, we've already broken down in multiple videos that Loki was going to become He Who Lokis, and Loki was going to become God of Stories. We posted a video way before most of these wannabe fake Twitter scoopers that pull their information off Reddit. So, if you're watching this, you're most likely up to date. You've seen what happened at the end of episode 5. Loki's like, yo, I could rewrite everything. And he appears what looked like just before the temporal loom blew up at the end of episode 4. So, I'm not going to take credit for this, but the quite reliable industry insider, and I don't really say that about many people, Alex Perez said this on November the 1st. The loom is a lie. Interesting. So, as soon as you read that, you would think, right, by the end of the season, the loom will be destroyed because the loom is a lie. And if the loom gets destroyed, that would basically do the following. It would free the multiverse from the sacred timeline, thus for opening up the multiverse. Now, before we go on, you should check out the Geeky Cast has actually made a video on how he thinks everything's going to play out and how he thinks they're going to get rid of Kang. Because Alex Perez also said that the way Loki Season 2 ends, they could get rid of Kang. They could dump Kang if they wanted to. But the way it's going to end, it doesn't really mean they are going to. So I will leave the link down below. So he posted a video, said Loki Season 2, how to solve the Kang issue. Now, it is interesting how Alex Perez said the loom is a lie, but he also said over a week ago now how the season ends and how they can get rid of Kang if that's the way they're going to. As we know, on this channel, I don't just run stories instantly. I'm not one of these little TikTok people who try to jump on what is trending. Because if you actually look into the Variety article, a lot of that Variety article was completely BS. We don't know if they are going to go forward with Doom instead of Jonathan Majors. I think that would be bad, but the way the season ends, according to Alex Perez, they could do that if they wanted to do that. So it's very interesting how Alex Perez said that. And he also said the loom is a lie. What does he mean by that? That essentially says to me the loom's going to be destroyed, and then the sacred timeline will be free, and then the multiverse can take place. So, Loki Season 2 happens just after Endgame. Now, we have to go back to the Ant-Man 3 post-credits scene because I think this is really pinnacle. So a lot of people thought that the Council of Kangs in the scene, in the post-credit scene for Ant-Man 3, we're talking about Kang being killed. But why? That makes no sense. Ant-Man 3 has nothing to do with the multiverse. Yeah, you could argue the quantum realm is part of... No, it's not. I really wouldn't say it. So the exiled one is dead. None of us killed him. They did it. They are beginning to touch the multiverse. And if we let them, they would take everything we built. Okay, so this scene, I think, in the post-credit scene for Ant-Man 3, actually takes place after Loki season 1, when Sylvie killed He Who Remains in this episode, and He Who Remains was like, yo, I don't know what's going to happen after this, essentially. So in the season finale of Loki season 2, what's going to happen is they're going to go back to the exact same scene, and something's going to happen there, because now Loki can rewrite history. God of Stories, is he going to change what happened there? Or is Loki actually just going to chuck He Who Remains, or a Kang variant, or whoever's at the end of time at the Citadel, because we know the Citadel is in the finale. We spoke about that nearly a week ago. So, is that He Who Remains the one that got slammed into Ant-Man 3? Was pretty clueless, because nothing of what Ant-Man, etc. in Ant-Man 3 touched the multiverse. Killing Kang in Ant-Man 3, although it looked like he got sucked somewhere else and actually ended up in the Beyondverse or something, I do believe that partially true. I do believe that version of Kang could come back, but they didn't touch the multiverse. Okay, so a version of Kang will appear in the finale, confirmed. They've also confirmed that apparently Miss Minutes is going to be in it, but it can't just be that simple that now Loki can be the God of Stories and it's looking like potentially they're going to set him up to be Avengers Prime. It can't be that simple of just rewriting it so Sylvie never killed him, can it? No. So Obi's notes, there's a sacrifice. They're sacrificing a lamb. Someone's going to get sacrificed. Who is it, though? Now, a lot of people seem to think it's Sylvie because the actress behind Sylvie allegedly posted something that kind of looked like a goodbye message. It just means that I think if this storyline to do with He Who Remains is going to be completely over, apparently the actress said this: after a job, I sort of say goodbye to the character. Part of that is the costume undressing for the last time is always ceremony for me. I really remember removing Sylvie's boots and saying, thanks, Sylvie, look after yourself, Sophia. This was a quote for a magazine that she allegedly did an interview. So a lot of people seem to think that Sylvie is going to be killed. Now, so the season will end with the loom being destroyed, essentially, and the multiverse being free. So this means after Loki season 2, then we get No Way Home, then we get Multiverse of Madness, then we get Ant-Man 3, and the post-credit scene for Ant-Man 3 has absolutely nothing to do with Kang being killed. It's major misdirection, to be honest. But I still can't figure out, are they going to get rid of the Kang storyline? Because now they have the God of Stories, they can do whatever they want. And that whole Variety article makes no sense to me. So let me get it straight. Marvel executives said, because we couldn't do rewrites because of the strike, knowing Loki became God of Stories, knowing that Loki, in a future project, could rewrite whatever he wants. So that whole article has been debunked. Stop listening to these Twitter, TikTok influencers who don't actually do any research. So He Who Remains will be killed again, or maybe chucked somewhere else. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with He Who Remains, but Loki essentially is going to be the ruler of all time. No, he's not, but he could be. So I still don't think it's going to be this simple, because making him God of Stories does not make him invincible. So the sacred timeline will be free, the multiverse will open, and then all the real multiversal stuff can happen. Now, it is interesting to me how, according to spoilers, there is no Kang involved in the Marvels. There was supposed to be a Kang scene, and the fact there's no Kang in the Marvels tells me that potentially they could be getting rid of Kang. I don't believe any of that Variety article, because a lot of it makes absolutely no sense to me. But if we keep coming back to but I don't believe they're going to get rid of all the Kangs, Ramatuk, Santorium, and all the Kangs we had in that scene, because they are beginning to touch the multiverse. If we let them, they would take everything we've built. Now, they have to keep playing the storyline, because we are building up to Secret Wars. So the Council of Kangs will have to try to conquer the Avengers and the Sacred Timeline, and maybe all the multiversal stuff. So, destroying the loom, if the loom is a lie, like Alex Perez said, it makes the loom a bit of a MacGuffin. But at the same time, if there is some sacrifice, I don't know how they're going to get rid of the loom. The loom might be a lie, but we've seen what happened to Victor Timely, Bosch, and it looked like everyone disappeared. Thus far, meaning post Loki Season 2, the new Avengers team, led by Tom Hiddleston, Loki, the God of Mischief, and the God of Stories, is going to have to be the leader of the new Avengers, the guardian of the multiverse, and that is how they set up everything to come. And if that is true, this is complete hype because the timelines are pretty cool when you think about it, because most people think that Loki Season 2 is taking place after Ant-Man 3. Because of this, and I call it MacGuffin. The TVA operates outside of time and space. Okay, that's nonsense. So, but then I think about the Deadpool 3 storyline that allegedly, the TVA is recruiting. Who is the TVA? The TVA is going to be Loki, essentially, because Loki is God of Stories. So, there are plot holes within what I'm saying, but essentially the way Loki Season 2 has to end is Loki destroys the loom, frees the timeline, if you like, let's call it the sacred timeline, and opens the multiverse. Because why else would the Kangs be like, they're starting to touch the multiverse? So we haven't actually seen the multiverse yet, although we have. Because after Loki Season 2, what happens is you get No Way Home, and then you get the multiverse part of that. You get the different Spider-Mans from the different places. Multiverse of Madness, we get to see, the Illuminati universe. So it all makes sense. But Ant-Man 3 isn't really a multiversal movie at all. But when did the multiversal wars happen? I think this all happened in the past. And if this is true, what I'm saying, it's absolutely insane if that is the case. So, if Loki does stop Sylvie from killing He Remains, what happens then? They got to destroy the temporal loom, which will essentially free the sacred timeline. But I can't figure out when the multiversal wars happen. But this will cause a knock-on effect, which will essentially mean the heroes will see the bigger picture. And the other thing you have to factor in is there's only really two people from the main MCU roster who know about Kang, is the Ant-Man family and Loki. No one else knows about this greater threat. So, what happens if He Who Remains was exiled from reality because of what happened during the multiversal war, and it was stuck at the end of time to maintain that timeline? Because why did they chuck him there? It's just interesting when you really read what was said. Are you jealous because you didn't kill him? And then it's like, yo, they're starting to touch the multiverse. They're starting to touch the multiverse. Everything we've built. That post-credit scene is so freaking important. I understand a lot of this might not make any freaking sense. I still want to see a multiversal war. Sure. And yes, we have seen an incursion happen in multiverse. Well, we didn't really, we kind of seen it. And yes, there will be incursions inside the Marvel's movie, but that does not mean that Kang the Conqueror is still going to be part of the storyline going forward. There can still be incursions, because incursions can still... Kang isn't the cause of incursions. There can still be incursions without Kang. What are you going to get to? It's going to be Avengers Doom's Dynasty instead. I really think the best way would be to make Doom a variant of Kang and still go forward with the Kang storyline. Yeah, but Warstu, you've literally just debunked your whole video. Not really. I still think the Kang storyline can work, but we know Loki is God of Stories now, so he can write everything the way he wants to write. Yo, but Warstu, what happens if a variant of Kang wanted Loki to do all this, and Loki's really being controlled by someone else? Well, realistically, I hope that is what's happening here, because I don't want it to be that simple. But the timeline is very interesting in the sense of when these movies are taking place. Now, I could be completely wrong, but my understanding now, if you understand that the Council of Kangs are talking about He Who Remains being killed, it means Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2 had to happen directly after Endgame, thus for meaning the multiverse cannot be touched yet, and meaning this scene should have happened after He Who Remains was killed. But it's almost like they're misdirecting the audience. And then we got No Way Home, then we got Multiverse Madness. Guardians 3 is irrelevant because it had no multiversal stuff. But realistically, Ant-Man 3 is kind of redundant as well, because that had no... The quantum realm isn't multiverse in my opinion. It's really not. So let me know what you think. I'm not saying any of this is true, but sure as hell, this sounds like some crazy conspiracy theory going off realistically. Everything we've already known, the leaks we've known about how Loki Season 2 is going to end with Loki being at the end of time and becoming He Who Loki's. But that's pretty much how I think the finale is going to go down and how the MCU will go forward. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, then I was totally wrong. But all I've really done in this video is taken the information that I've found from reliable people on the internet. Alex Perez seems pretty reliable. Gone over briefly what GeekyCast said during his video. Make sure to check him out. GeekyCast on YouTube, Geekycast on Twitter. I'm realistically just going over information that's already out there that makes a lot of sense, going over certain tweets and certain information's out there and be like, yo, yeah, it does seem like the temporal loom is a complete lie. The sacred timeline has to become free in a certain way because the multiverse doesn't really exist at the moment. We're just seeing branched realities, if you like. And I think it's major misdirection. And a lot of people already know, and we put the video out last week, that Loki would become He Who Remains and the multiverse would be saved in a way, but maybe it's not going to be saved. Maybe the multiverse is going to be free and everyone's going to be free to do whatever the freaking hell they want. But to say the loom is a lie really does kind of tell you exactly what is going to happen without telling you what's going to happen. But the loom being a lie doesn't mean that Loki destroys it. Maybe Loki saves the loom, but I've not even factored in what Ravonna and Miss Minutes is going to do because I think they're all kind of irrelevant now because Loki can rewrite whatever the hell he wants to. So hopefully after episode 6 airs this week, you come back to this video and you're like, yo, Warstu, your information was right, not my information. I've just gone over information from reliable sources, Alex Perez on Twitter, Geekycast on Twitter, and also on YouTube. So I don't want to take any creditation for this. I'm just piecing together information that's already out there. I really hope I'm right about when the Ant-Man 3 post-credit scene happens because it can't happen before No Way Home. It makes no sense. It says, yeah, they're touching the multiverse. They're starting to touch the multiverse. They're beginning to touch the multiverse. And if we let them, who's that? Is it the new Avengers? And they would take everything we've built. And then Kang's like, Kang the Conquering Ant-Man's like, have I killed you before? So that version, whoever he is, has had lots of fights with previous Avengers and killed them. So it's a massive mess when you think about it too much. I think it's just going to end in one timeline and then the multiverse essentially. And the sacred timeline will be completely free or some variation of that. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram. I wish you to see the beautiful face on the voice. Check us out on Twitter. I wish you G, and we'll catch you in another video very soon, guys. Catch you later.